If you have been on the Pokemon side of YouTube even for a little bit, you more than likely have seen vast amounts of various Pokemon challenge runs, right? Well, just like any trend on this platform, there comes a moment when you've milked a cow completely dry, or it gets too boring after no innovation. So why not change the game with new stuff? Specifically, change the literal game and add in the good old yoink and twist. Taking one of the best Pokemon games and a recent trend, let me introduce you to yet another Pokemon Black 2 Nuzlocke. But this time with fusions only. Pause here for the rules and how it will work. But now that we got that out of the way, let's finally begin the challenge. Like you already know, the story starts out with a random lady taking you hostage in a dark room while teaching you about the world of Pokemon. Even though in universe you're plenty old enough to know what the heck a Pokemon is. Nonetheless, we let our angsty neighbor monologue while thinking about what I'll sacrifice in the name of science. Oh, an unassuming, innocent little sea otter meant as a gift? Sounds perfect for the role, or just has a design that's the easiest to change. Initially, I thought that since there's no trainer battles yet, I could wait until another encounter to reserve the starter for something better. But due to a trainer on Route 20 that just barely restricts us from reaching that dream, I have no choice but to get our first fusion. So yeah, after catching Patrat and using it as our first fusing material, meet Osharat. And now that that's finally out of the way, let's smack around that gatekeeping trainer. As we get into the first battle, we already can see the side effects of making this sort of ROM hack. Other trainer teams automatically get also changed to have the fused Pokemon, which actually I think is pretty cool. Taking him and the other nuisances out, we now get 2 encounters to get another fusion, which consists of Swaddle, then the one at the phallic-looking grass spot, Lillipup. After some more hours of extra work to get a second usable member, meet the bug normal type fusion, Silverpup. And since we luckily get to keep the bug typing, the rival is nothing more than a Munch and a Breeze. Finding the missing Popper, meeting and beating some kids up as Alder requested, weird guy, it's already time for the first gym. Though, due to how the encounters are laid out in the beginning, we won't have any new fusions until after Roxy. So we have to make this gap count with what we got. Beating the gym trainers with no hassle, it's finally time to obtain the first badge. Leading with Suapop, I instantly use stab bug bites to take out the Oshawott in 2 turns. But Sharon's Suapop is more of a hassle thanks to workup. To confirm a KO, I leer it and finish it with bug bite to avoid any potion use. With less than expected sweat, the first badge is finally ours. then work up and return as a great addition on top. With a slight intermission of a few battles in between cities, we already arrive at Burbank City and instantly grind up happiness for an upcoming evolution and, of course, return damage increase, which I check with PK Hex until getting the maximum. On top of that, an encounter is available in Burbank Complex, which gives us a bit of. But we get nothing to fuse with it until Castelia nonetheless, so it doesn't really matter right now. So until then, I'll make my way to the second gym. Clearing the gym trainers and evolving Soap up into Swadier, it's time to battle Roxy. Leading with Osharat, I use Hypnosis to put Coughing to sleep, then switch to Swadier and set up with Workup. But of course, it instantly wakes up, yippee. I attempt putting it to sleep again with Grass Whistle, which works, no surprise, only after 3 turns. Finally getting the chance, I use Workup 2 times before it wakes up again, so seeming to be in a good spot, I go ham with a pretty much max friendship boosted return and one-shot Coughing, then one-shot Whirlipede as well. So just like that, the second badge is now ours. And as a nice treat, due to Swatloon evolving with friendship, which got added as a second evolution method for the fusion, we get to have the final evolution already. So meet Cleveland. Gotta hand it to him. Being a single dad probably brings some toughness perks, so good on him. Checking off some extra tasks that luckily you get to skip thanks to the power of editing. I whoop some Neoplasma cheeks and head straight for Castelia City, where thanks to the position we're in currently, we can get a few encounters to pick and choose what to fuse. Ooh, got even some rhymes in there. I go to Route 4 and get Darumaka, then progress the plot to open up the sewers and obtain Grimer. After running into more plasma grunts like a Jinx, I get extra encounters such as Rattata in Relic Passage and Cottony in Castelia City. So, time to figure out what to combine. After the first big time dedication to putting together some fusions, time to reveal the new members. For the first fusion, meet a Grass Flying Pidney. Then already closing out this segment, take a peek at a grimy glob known as Poison Fire type Grimmaka. Now with finally that out of the way, let's give Berg a taste of our mixed dish. I quickly walk around the city and obtain some helpful items that could be beneficial. Then, after adjusting the team with the new stuff, we head for the gym and burn everything in our way. And in no less than a blink of an eye, it's time to show the artist some true art. I lead with Osharat, expecting to see Dwebble, yet Berg sends out Swatloon. Having Osharat as my only Pokemon that's not weak to rock, I switch to Pidney, forgetting that I still don't have a flying move. To make it at least somewhat count, I also forget that Leech Seed doesn't affect grass types. Oops, wrong generation. Already racking up some fumbles, I just cut the shit and go straight in with Grimmaka and one-tap the Swatloon with no sweat, just like expected. Following that, the anticipated Dwebble finally makes an appearance, so to avoid any risks, I switch back to Osharat while taking a smackdown, then dish out a handful of Razor Shells his way to make him waste a Hyper Potion before taking Dwebble down. As for the final opponent, Leavanny comes out and forces me to switch into Grimmaka, which of course easily beats the Mama Bug after a slight critical hit jump scare. After swiping away the pinch of sweat generated, we can finally say that the third badge is ours. To celebrate, right after the fight, I evolve Oshrat on 26, which lets me introduce you to Samhog. Yeah, although taking some time for your eyes to adjust to this phenomenon, we definitely can't complain about a 492 base stat Pokemon at this point in the game. Just like I mentioned before with the fact of me combining evolution methods, I also did the same for level up evolutions by averaging out the middle ground between the two levels, so in this case, we get level 26. Heading straight for the desert, we run into your favorite blue hair streaked nuisance Colress, and, of course, just like usual, wipe the floor with him with an easy Grimmaka sweep. Strolling through the desert and taking a small detour, I make way to the desert resort for some extra, spicy new encounters. Firstly, I find Sandile in the resort itself, then after entering the Relic Castle, Sandshrew also makes an appearance. Before going crazy for any new fusions though, I instead wait until getting all the encounters we currently can get before the gym to see our options. Entering Nimbasa, I avoid as much as I can, with still some fails and battles here and there, though after I reach Route 16, I find Audino while searching for an Emolga, then go to Lostlorn Forest and find a Combi. And lastly, in Route 5, Gothita shows up and joins our team. But finally, now that we have some new members, you already know the deal, so let me get the fusions done and I'll be back with the results. Now, hear me out. I know the Sandile Combi fusion may not seem that pleasant to look at, or conceptually not even close as good as it fusing the other way around. But that typing and the stats speak another language, what can I say? Though if this video reaches at least 1000 likes, I'll consider updating this hack with more fusions overall. But anyways, back to the showcase. Here's the expected, yet still disappointing breakthrough in all ways except the Pokemon themselves, while being yet another normal type, just like the Golfino fusion, but this one's not so bad. Better typing, free bulky, and more coverage, so I can't complain. With new encounters now out of the way, I build up a team best suited for the upcoming 4th gym battle and get some evolutions done. With some side prep finally done, let's go and put on a show for the crowd. Now that was a blast, but time to let some sparks fly. Cause you know, electricity can make sparks, and letting sparks fly also mean starting off strong. I lead with Rat Slash instead of the Crookwin I accidentally overleveled, knowing that she will lead with an Emolga. So, just like you expect, I slash the Lil Puntable Pika clone until I get to the non-flying types and start spamming Dig, which leads to, well, a thing we call in the industry a situation like this.
A bloody slaughter!
Well, better take the badge and slide away before the cops appear. I bet Drift Whale could be a good hiding spot. Moving towards the city with a head-bopping theme, I clap some more Neo cheeks, and also beat this random Charles guy in a battle format that appeared and got dropped sooner than anyone who played Pokemon Cafe Remix. On the drawbridge, I run into an extra encounter, which is a silly little goose. There we go. Wait, I think it isn't even a goose. Fuck! Clearing some more plot points, I go and meet some ex-Plasma goons, which with modern day lingo and terms make it sound weird. But at least after chatting with them, I get a Zorua for more possible fusions. So that evens out the goon comment. What if they actually go? Deciding to just go for the gym, I prepare with what I got currently and make way for the top G clay. Learning to hustle just like the best Unova gym leader, I easily reach the gatekeeper that withholds the 5th badge. Feeling pretty confident about my chances, I lead this time with a not over-leveled Crookwin and exploit the Crocorock's limited moveset to set up defend orders. Then get it purposely into the red to waste a hyper potion. Now, having maxed out defenses, I start going on a rampage until reaching the command run ender Excadrill. Being torment locked, I use the opportunity to scout what he could use against me. Seeing no real threat though, I go for dig, but get a good scare with a critical rock slide. Now being in crit range, yet also able to knock out the Excadrill, I risk by going for heal order due to a thorn in my ass called Torment. But it luckily works out well in the end anyways. Now being good, even if I get hit again with a critical hit, I go for dig after a flinch. Yet it ends up somehow surviving. Cool. Playing it a bit safe by healing, then going for the final blow, I win and get the 5th badge. Strolling onwards, I get dragged into doing the obligatory Pokemon World Tournament, aka the best Pokemon side content, which I still have never tried out past the tutorial stuff. Feel free to leave comment retro down in the comments. Beating the tourney with no problem, and taking part in some goon action on Plasma's goofy ship that results in more cheek-clapping, I know what I said, we finally are free from the plot shackles and get the chance to find more Pokemon. Starting with Route 6, I unassumingly find Dunsparce, which means that we get another normal type fusion, yay! Woo. Sure. Getting the HM4 Surf though, we get an extra encounter in the nearby Mistralton cave, and taking up the chance to do exactly that, I see a random blue giraffe thing on the way to the cave, but more importantly, find a Woobat in the mentioned spot. I've been really lucky with my encounters, haven't I? Having a greater chance for something cool, I enter Chargestone Cave to, of course, go straight for the next encounter, specifically in this case being a Joltik. 5 gyms later, we finally got our first electric type. Saving all encounters until Mistralton to see all the options I'll have, I make my way through the cave with plenty of plot, levitating rocks, pushover trainers and other random stuff in between to progress. In no time, especially for you, we've already breathing in the air of Mistralton City. After getting a small gift called the Master Ball, what the fuck is that? In a rush on Route 7, I run into the grass and find a Deerling. Then at the Celestial Tower, I march up the stairs and also find a Golbat. And now that I've gotten everything, let me brainstorm possible fusions and I'll get back to you with the results. So, you might be thinking, what the hell took you that long to get this badge done? Well, my dear viewer, a little tiny thing that's called Zubat and not wanting to be modified at all. After struggling for a whole day with this bastard, right before giving up, an idea popped in my head. As it turns out, this whole time I was editing the male version of Zubat, though the one I used for checking was the female version. The same problem was for Golbat, but after figuring it out, everything ended up working as well. So, sorry for the side tangent, but I had to somehow justify this time dump. Anyways, back to the showcase we go. Getting bestowed with such great encounters, picking good combos was kind of tough. Though here's what I got. First off, Zorua and Joltik combined gives us the fast glass cannon and dark electric type Guntic. Kinda funny to think that a Zorua related design has a chance to not have illusion though. But coming up next, Deerling and Woobat fuse to become the grass psychic type Deerbat. And I guess you could say I fuse Deerling like this so that I don't have to deal with the season gimmick. Whoops. And last but possibly not least, the normal flying type Dunbat. Although it seems bad at first, getting Serene Grace on a surprisingly fast fusion that is hard carried by Crobat could turn out to be surprisingly good. But yeah, let's get a move on. Getting some evolutions done before the gym and changing up the movesets, it's now time to march towards Skyla's gym. Entering the building, I swiftly make my way through the gym with various hiccups in certain battles and dealing with the nuisance that is the wind gimmick in between. Taking no more than 5 minutes to rush through, it's already time to go ahead and secure the badge. Leading with Zoroark against one of the new fusions, which funnily enough is not even flying type, I get an easy takedown thanks to a ×4 bug weakness. Still having illusion up, next out comes an unsuspecting Swanna, which unfortunately for it, also goes down to a ×4 weak move. Youch! After coming down to the last Pokemon, Skyla sends out a slightly more threatening Skarmory, but thanks to Volt Switch that almost takes it out, I send in Mumanitan to oppose Skarmory and melt it down after a wasteful Hyper Potion and Steel Wing combo. With the easiest fight yet, we can also now claim the 6th badge as ours. Just as fast as we celebrate a recent win, it's already time to go on a joyride with Skyla to Lentimus Town. Wasting no time in anticipation of more fusions, I catch a Scorpy, then take a small detour to the strange house solely for the encounter, which is Banette. Sorry Ghost Girl. Entering the non-differing Reversal Mountain, hence having no extra encounter, we meet and team up with Bianca, since no way she's making it through on her own with a Pokemon that looks like that. Having plenty of battles that quickly started to become tedious, we finally get through the mountain with no struggle. Reversal Mountain? More like Reversal Fartin. Yeah, I cannot move on without a punishment for that. Like, what the fuck was that? Let's keep this between us and just move on. Oh hey, looks like Pussboy has something to say about it. Perfect time, bucko. Okay, so maybe I've gotten a bit too cocky. Oops. Being in a bit of a panic, but realizing I have Humanitan available, I take a big beating while taking out the Coil Buff Superior, then wash away the monkey embodiment of the meme.
Who?
After beating and seeing him run away faster than any short attention span person skipping a TikTok, I put to rest our first true casualty. You may have been a major pain in the ass to add into the game, Dunspat, but it sure was nice to have an actual excuse to use the Dunsparce in some way. Even though, actually, you did make Crobat worse. Never mind. Good riddance, sucker. While coping that Dunspat wasn't that big of a loss, I quickly get the opportunity to fill a goofy snakebat hole in my heart by catching Jellicent in Undella Town and Mantike in the neighboring Undella Bay. Then before making even more fusions, on Route 13, I also find a nice little Tangela. Kind of was hoping for Absol though, but now that we got all the encounters, let's see what we can make. Thanks to getting another water flying type, I made only 2 fusions and left the matching type Pokemon on the sidelines for better matches later. For now though, let's check out fusions I did end up making. First, let me present the grass ghost type, Tanette. Well, moving on to the last one already for now, check out Drascent, the poison ghost type. Of course, since we're closing in on the end game now, we don't get to see the first stages as much. So here they are as well for a quick peek. And of course, let's look at other genders, Skullish and Drapsant as well. I suggest any shiny hunters to not hunt these shinies, since their unique forms caused some issues in decoding. So I just left it like that after trying to fix it. But making it worse instead. Or maybe make your own headcanon about it, who cares anyways. But now that we got that out of the way, let's get back into the action. Finally moving on, I head out to Route 12 and masterfully avoid all trainers. Until I don't. But pushing aside the definitely purposeful failure, I run upon the past Paradox version of Iron Crown. Man, Game Freak are so cool for planning so far ahead. Good job, guys. Though it's still technically on Route 12, so sorry, pal. Reaching Lacunosa Town, I meet up with June Piper and buy Ankle to learn some stuff about a random tale that probably has no relevance to the plot at all. After recapping and drawing together very simple points that even a 7-year-old can figure out. Wait a minute. Some bozos that can be described by a poorly aged term run up and ruin our book club with a battle, which of course ends up as a lesson for them to know what disappointment feels like. On a more interesting note, it's time for a new route. After having a Mandela effect of thinking there definitely was a hidden grotto here, I just run into the grass and find Roselia. And a random previous fusion too, I guess. Though at least it didn't make my heart jump out as much as the Roselia. Oh, and I guess mentioning the fact that I got a lucky crit would be worthwhile as well. There goes that cool Mantine fusion idea. Still sulking about the worst wild battle yet, I get a chance for redemption at the village bridge. But before that, time to crush and make an old man's whole life achievements go to waste. And after a quick scare with a Swords Dance setup, only to fumble it, our encounter we've been leading up to is a Marill. Pretty cool, though it's another water type. I wonder if maybe the next route can help us out with this. Well, yes, looks like it actually can. After roughing up half of my team, Gligar is caught. Using the already used joke, which is the second past Paradox, thank you Game Freak, I skip anything happening in Opelucid and run to round 9 to find Garbodor, aka everyone's favorite Gen 5 Pokemon design. Now, say what you want, but it's time to make more fusions and get ready for the second last gym. So, yeah, I might have ended up with 2 new water types anyways. Well, I would have if I didn't make the Garbodor Swanna fusion actually water type, but it came out to be Poison Flying instead. Speaking of types though, turns out Flying type is starting to quickly dominate as the most common one. So that's mostly why I made the Manti-Gligar fusion a water ground type. Yep, definitely the main reason. And of course, here's the pre-evo as well. But with that out of the way, it's time to get back to your scheduled Gym 7 battling. Taking on some trainers for extra cash, the battle results in Goffino and Zorchola kind of fainting, yeah, raging for a bit after losing my only electric type. I cope with it with a fast new evolution to Mancore on level 40 and Sosbat as well. Finally getting to rebuild and get my team back on its feet, I go and show old Trayton some fusion might. Battling every trainer one by one, I quickly beat every challenge with mild difficulty before the big bad dragon grabs Drayden, then start a battle for the 7th badge. Leading with Sosbat against Dratigon, I weaken it with 2 charms, burn it with Tanet, and set up with Leveland by using Workup 4 times. But end up forgetting about Dragon Tail. So yeah, I just repeated with 2 Workups again before getting scared by a crit crunch. Luckily with no extra problems, Dratigon goes down and out comes Flygon. With a calculated estimate for this to be a speed tie, I risk it with Return, which pays off by knocking it out. With a possibility of not KOing the final Mon Haxers, I still go for the Return and hit the home run with a triple knockout and getting the 7th badge. After following the old man back to his house and engaging in some good old Pokemon lore dumping, our bonding moment gets interrupted by a casual flying ship that shoots a Giga Ice Beam, resulting with the whole city getting frozen. Cool. Reaching the gym to stop the Pope Drip-inspired Plasma admin, I beat up the Goon full and protect the DNA splicers until we don't. You had one job, Drayden. Sniffing out where the Edgelord Goon Shadow went, I eventually beat up the Hedgehog in disguise, but of course not without some stroke-inducing moments beforehand. After still not getting back the key item, time to go on a whole road trip to fetch it back, while they probably fiddle around and do nothing in the meantime. Taking a more beautiful scenic route than I remember, I quickly make it to Humilau and find Marlin to get the 8th badge before going over the tight 51 level cap. Doing horrors that no Lotad can imagine, I scoot over to the gym leader and show Marlin what sleeping with the fishes actually means. In case of a shell smash situation, I lead with Tanet to have a priority move at the ready for a post-sturdy knockout. Playing out exactly like that, I repeat the move after a potion, but of course, miss. After outspeeding on the next turn, I land the next whip, but almost get taken out in return. Switching in Garbna, while avoiding rollout to dish out big damage with Gungshot and take it out after an unlucky RNG spree. Hoping to fetch better results, I switch to Mancor and take out the Wailord soon after, lowering Marlon's Drapsen's main attacking stat with Intimidate. While scouting his moves, I see that it most likely has the regular's moveset, so I switch to Unphysicut and cheese it out with flinches before changing back to Mancor and using Swords Dance while Drapsen recovers. Then finish off the chapter of badge collecting with the final gym now being beat. And while we're checking off boxes, let's go get some encounters. In Humilau City, we run into a Staryu. On Route 22, I avoid the PU Menace Terrakion like before and hope for a Mienfoo instead, which actually ends up happening. In the Giant Chasm, I run into Sneasel, also find a moral support Corsola on Route 21, then at Seaside Cave, meet Boldor. Time to sort out these new guys, and of course, see you on the other side. Up first is probably my favorite line thus far, the Dark Fighting type Sneasel, which of course is changed to evolve a bit earlier than level 50. Though on the other half of the coin, here's Rogenyu as probably as my least liked. I mean, there's only so much you can do with a Staryu, so time to get this Plasma Goon thing finally over with. Getting Weave Shao and Gigami through evolution and fine-tuning their sets, I reach Plasma's ship to get right on it after an assist by the Fishman. After many more battles that are the filler episode equivalent for these games, I find all the buttons to unlock the locked path. Then find the main source behind all of these shenanigans. Wait, the Pokemon that's showcased in the box art plays a big role in the story? No! No way! No. While having a small spasm in my head about the plot realization, the Dripped Goon finally stops practicing Japanese and finally gets down to business with yet another double battle. Due to the rival Spore type matchups, I slide through the battle pretty easily until I get prepared to lose my Mumanitan to the Samhawk due to the rival making the most dog shit play in this scenario. But unfortunately for him, goons being goons have even less brain cells and end up using a double resisted move instead. After embarrassing themselves, the Goon Pope snitches on us and calls the admins, which causes us to get kicked off the server. But joke's on them, I got their IP right before leaving. So getting back in their lobby happens quicker than you can spell IP leak in the comments, wink wink. Right as it seems I finally got one over them, they jumped me with a sudden double battle, though the worst that happens is me forgetting to turn off the speed up. I guess they're pushovers after all. Doing all the extra battles and completely washing the WAG guy's squad once again, right after one battle is already the next boss battle. In this case, next being Colress. Doing as much damage as possible with Mumanitan, I waste his full restore already and leave the Magneton 1 HP before Volt switching. Then I switch myself out to Mancor and take out the switched in Magnezone with Bulldozes. Knowing that Beheeyem has Energy Ball, I predicted with Cleveland and get a swift KO. Taking down the Metang with Tanet and finishing off the Magneton with Shadow Sneak, last comes out Klinklang. But with a combo of Cleveland and Mancor, the battle ends with the result of 0 casualties, surprisingly. Though a +3 Giga impact at the end sure did almost cause me to soil my pants. After semi-tough battle, I make it to Gitsis to beat down some creative mode admins, push the dead inside rival aside, and ice puzzle my way to the main star of the show, the almost child game-ending antagonist Gitsis, which we, like any other regular 10-year-old, have arrived to stop. Some actual bad team behavior while stealing other trainers' Pokemon, the warm-up for the true hard battle, and the only vanilla Pokemon that would be a legit encounter if we could get it, Kyurem Black, is challenged to a battle. After a bit of teamwork with Mancor's bulldozes, Mumanitan's tanking, Cleveland's intimidate, and returns, we take the mighty beast down, though the true fight is only still ahead. Jumping straight into the next fight, Kofagrigus comes out against Mancor. Expecting Toxic, I go straight into Mumanitan and chip away at it and waste his full restore, but get worn down myself. Switching on a predicted Psychic, I Night Slash and take it down soon after. With Seismitoad coming out next, I expect a fighting type move and switch to Tanet, which doesn't get hit thanks to a correct prediction. With a juicy Power Whip right against Seismitoad's skin, 2 are already down. Electros is sent in next, for which I sent out Mancor while taking a flamethrower. Seeing a good opportunity, I use Swords Dance and get lucky with a flinch freeze combo, in result making me feel confident enough to max out my attack and take Electros, Drapion, the main Menace Hydreigon, and Toxic Rogue down to win the fight, all thanks to Ice Fang's RNG coming in clutch. After seeing Gitsis loses shit worse than an entitled Karen at Starbucks, we get a suggestion to take on the Pokemon League. Yeah, no duh, what else do you think I was trying to accomplish here? Finally getting a chance to run straight ahead, I make my way towards Victory Road through the final new route, which of course means time for our final encounters. On Route 23, I finally fall for the Bold Disguise and encounter Amoonguss. Then, after quite the anticlimactic journey to meet N and scan my badges, I find Golurk as my final catch in this Nuzlocke. But of course the dumbass has to die from curse. Well, I guess I'll see what last fusion I can make from the scraps. See ya. I might have ended up using Amoonguss and Corsola. Kinda lame, I know. But at this point, I've been doing this for more than a month, and I'm right there at the finish line. So, in short, I would say I didn't want a water type. Taking the view of this grass rock type, because you ain't seeing it for long no matter how it plays out. Okay, so here's my quick game plan for the road. I'll build a team from what I got as the main contenders for the Elite Four, then use the rest as possible fodder to successfully reach the league. Got it? Okay, good. Here goes nothing. With the main path out of the way, it's time to finally battle our rival and get rid of the final roadblock to greatness. With the B team ready to shine, let the battle commence. I start with the idea to do some big damage with Stone Edge, which pays off with a crit KO against the U-turn Bouffalant. After sending out the ace and putting pressure with the thought of a coil setup just again, I quickly send in Moomanitan to fulfill its sole purpose for currently being on the team. Just like I feared, the first coil has now been used. Then as I go for a Fire Punch, a second coil is also used. Though after a reminder of how little damage a Pokemon can do against a double resist, even with boosts in mind, Superior ends up acting only as an entree for Simisear, which follows the same fate after an Earthquake from Crookwin. Getting visited again by Unfezant as the last opponent standing, I switch to Gigamy and go for Stone Edge, but end up taking its and Gigamy's own punch to the face. To finally just get it over with, Drapsent gets sent onto the field and slowly chips away at the moldy bird until a simple yet satisfying victory. With the Elite Four gauntlet now left, I approach the ever so elusive destination that I've been working towards for the past month, and get ready to finish this once and for all. With my final preps and team being complete, let's show these snobs what we're really made of. We begin with Weaveshow using a fake out U-turn combo to swiftly take out the beginning Liepard and limit XP gain due to the tight level cap. Then get Cleveland on the field for an Intimidate trigger. Though due to a misunderstanding, it weirdly doesn't trigger. Expecting Aerial Ace from Bisharp, I switch and easily take the predicted move. Though in a moment of stress, I use Bulldoze, yet forget about the trap card known as Defiant, which puts me in a tough spot. Seeing it as my only escape, I send in Weaveshow to resist and take the Bisharp out. Out next comes Scrafty, so I send in Garpnut to absorb the hit, then respond with almost a KO. Most likely not outspeeding, I send Weaveshow back in on a full restore turn to finish it with a fake out and jump kick combo instead. And finally, for the big bad Croak, I send in the reserved Cleveland with U-turn and take down Grimsley with return. Wanting to not leave the biggest threat as the last battle, I decide to take on Marshall right now, while I got my counters still with me. We got this team. Setting up both layers of Toxic Spikes while being only hit once, I play around his moves to stay healthy until finding the opportunity to Brave Bird and waste his full restore. Then repeat it to take it out soon after. Getting to face the ace early, I switch to Mancore to take a Stone Edge. Then switch to Tonette on Hammer Arm and wear it down. In result, taking out the Veiny Construction Clown with Power Whip. Suspecting bounce, Garpna comes in to stall it out, but instead takes a critical beating and paralysis as a cherry on top. But thanks to a roost, my initial strategy still ends up working. I swap to Cleveland for a quick attack drop on the final Moan, and with a nice return smack to the Sock's face, my biggest hurdle ends up not being so bad after all. Which means the other two can't be that hard, right? Huh, I guess there can be such a thing as no foreshadowing on such baity sentences after all. Though, like you most likely already know, there's still one challenge left. So with some quick buffs for my team, let's see if the month-long build-up will have a matching climax. Leading with the most ironically reliable Pokemon yet, I start with Jump Kick and successfully get the desired outcome. As for Druddigon, I U-turn to dodge the incoming Focus Blast, shake off a Flamethrower, and easily take a Rock Slide. Then finally do some damage with the Ice Fang that freezes, yet thaws it out right away to deal a chunk with a crit Focus Blast. Dodging the next blast thanks to Tanette, I go for the kill with Power Whip, but it survives and heals on the next turn. Seeing no other way out, I deal big damage with Fire Punch, but let Mumanitan go down so that Weave Shao can secure the KO. Then repeat that for Aggron as well. As for Archeops, I go for Night Slash to knock it into defeatist, but end up not complaining about a lucky crit instead. Seeing the menace Haxorus, a U-turn play lets me get an attack drop on it and take it down with a crit return. With only Lapras now left, I throw caution to the wind and go all out and combo Leaf Blade into a big, massive Giga Impact for the KO while dodging Sing, which results in me finally being able to say Pokemon Black 2, but with fusions, is not only complete as a ROM hack, but also as a Nuzlocke. As for the hack itself, the ROM I made and played is available in the description. If you want me to add more features and fusions, let's hit the 1k likes goal and I'll make an update and a video about me doing exactly that. But anyways, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this, cause it sure took a lot of time and effort. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more.